You. Welcome back to my channel. Kwabangandaziyo, the girl is Afika, inkosazana yakwa Kinkri, and Denbulisa Nonke. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who haven't subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, you hit the notification button so that you can be the first to know whenever I post a video. Make sure if you like this content, you double tap on the like button, you comment in the comment section below, and you tell a friend to tell a friend so that everyone can know. We're going to be speaking about praying before you plan. Now, this is going to be the overall message that I have for 2021, and it's my very first video in 2021. And I want to say humble apologies because, guys, I have been away for a very long time, and I don't really have a definite excuse ascertaining why I've been away. But yeah, life happens, and I do promise that this year I will be consistent, and I'm going to be posting a video every Friday. I might post 2 times a week, maybe every second week. I'm not promising that 2 times a week, but the Friday is a promise. Every Friday, rest assured, I will post videos, so you must make sure you anticipate that. And I want to say Happy New Year and Happy New Month. We are in the month of love, and I know all of you guys might be excited for Valentine's Day, so yeah. Anyways, let us get straight into the video and not waste any more time. So in today's video, we're going to be speaking about praying before you plan, and we're going to be setting out a few pointers why it's actually important and why I suggest and invite you guys to pray over your plans before you actually execute them and implement them. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start out by just reading out a Bible verse, because this all stems from the Bible verse that I had read a few days ago in chapter 16 Proverbs, and I'm going to be reading verse 1 and verse 3. You guys can go over the whole chapter 16 of Proverbs. It is really up to you. I would actually advise that because it's a very knowledgeable book in the Bible. It teaches a lot about character and, most importantly, wisdom. Okay, so the verse goes like this: we may make our plans, but God has the last word. So it is in the Good News Bible version. You guys might have a different kind of version, but I think it won't be that different. It will be slightly different because it is English after all that we're all reading. So we may make our plans, but God has the last word. So the first point I'm going to be making today is God has an opinion about your plans. So God having an opinion about your plans means that you need to notify God about your plans, because your business is God's business. You might think, Uguti, but it's my plans and I feel like I should just be seeking for blessings from God. That is it. But no, darling, because God is not going to bless something that he hasn't firstly approved of, that he hasn't firstly okayed. Just like when you ask your parents for something and you seek their blessings for that particular thing, and if they say no, you don't go ahead with it, even if you had planned it. In the very same way, you need to first seek for approval. So you need to tell God about your plans before you actually execute them, when you are still contemplating them, so that he gives you a response regarding your plans, whether it's okay or whether it is not okay for you to go ahead with those plans, because God has an opinion about your plans. That is the first reason why it's important for you to pray before you plan, because uNkulunkulu has the last word. So God will give us the liberation to plan, to set our goals and desires, but in the end, he is the one that is going to decide what turn of direction your life is going to take, what is going to happen, because God has set a time and place for everything. He has planned out our destinies way long before we even came into existence. So obviously, no matter what it is we plan, whatever he wants is going to happen. So in order to avoid disappointments where we plan for things and then they don't happen, and then we're disappointed, and then we blame God, and then we lose our faith and trust in God, rather let us seek God's approval, because he has an opinion about whatever it is that we've planned, even if he might allow us to plan. Then secondly, the second point I'm going to be making is that you need to seek for God's approval about your plans. Now, the reason for this is because everything we plan should be centered around God. Everything we do regarding the plans we've set out for our lives should be centered around us giving God glory and honor. So our plans are supposed to be basically to make sure God is receiving glory and honor. Basically to make sure, most importantly, we are fulfilling God's purpose. We are fulfilling God's will. God created us for himself and not for ourselves. We belong to God. And if we belong to God, that means whatever we're doing is to bring God glory. Whatever we're doing that we're planning, before we even actually do, we're planning is so that it can be in alignment, because we are all created for a purpose, guys. So we can't be planning for things that are not in alignment with God's purpose for our lives, because all those things that we plan which are not in alignment with God's purpose for our lives will not be successful. Those plans will not be carried out successfully because it's not God's plan, it's your own plan. Or if you've set a time frame of when you want to achieve that, but God has not set the very same time frame, it will not happen in that time frame. Because God has set destiny, a time and a place for everything. Everything will occur if it's meant to occur according to God at the time it's meant to occur. So you need to yield that control that you have. I need to orchestrate everything. I need to be in control of everything. I need to do everything. You need to yield that control to God and let him take control, and let him take the driving seat, and let you be a passenger or be in the back seat, and let him do what he does best, because he knows best. Got it? Okay, and then the very last point is that we need to seek for God's will and then make our plans centered around God's will. Now, there's a Bible verse in chapter 16 of Proverbs, verse 3, that says, ask the Lord to bless your plans and you will be successful in carrying them out. Now, firstly, before we do that, there's a verse in verse 9, still in Proverbs chapter 19. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm stumbling a bit. It's just that I'm not really used to doing this whole kind of Bible study kind of thing where I'm explaining the Bible verses in front of a camera where people are going to watch it and they're going to actually comment and whatnot. It's a bit scary because it's God's word, so it's a very serious thing. I don't take it lightly. So in verse 9, it says that we may make our plans as human beings. It might not be in those exact words, but go have a look. We may make our plans as human beings, but in the end, God directs our actions. God directs our steps, which means that God is in control. God is sovereign. So God is going to do what God is going to do, even if he might allow us to make plans. So even if we may make our plans, but that whole verse means that even if we may make our plans, God's plans and God's will is what's going to prevail. So that is why I say seek for God's will. As my very last point, seek for God's will. Pray to God and ask him, what is my purpose that you've brought me here on this earth for? What am I destined and called to do? Which career is for me? Give me that affirmation. Give me that confirmation. Give me that sign, Lord. I want to know what it is that I need to be doing. I want to know if I'm on the right direction, if I'm in the right track, if I'm doing what I'm doing. Ask him those questions. Seek for God's will. Like how we used to pray that old traditional prayer, Yoguti, may your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. We say that not just for the sake of it, but because we really want God's will to be done here on earth as it is in heaven, because it is God's will that will prevail. And you can't, lastly, as this verse says, ask the Lord to bless your plans so that they can be successful. You cannot be successful in carrying out your plans if they are not centered around God's will. If those plans are not in alignment with God's purpose for your life, it's not going to be successful. Because why? You're not doing what you need to be doing to fulfill God's will. You're doing your own thing according to your own will. And God requires obedience and for us to surrender so that we can be able to fulfill his will. You guys, please make sure that you stay tuned and you watch the whole video. I believe it would be a very impactful video. And please make sure that you come back next week Friday, same time, same place, with your girl Inkosazana Yeniakwa Kinkri, signing out. And I say that God bless you. May God's peace be with you all, and make sure that you spread love and light. I love you guys so much.